Jewish law often factors in loss when it's coming to make decisions. If somebody's going to lose a significant amount of material assets, or that can also include, by the way, food, you prepared food for Shabbat, and somebody comes to a rabbi and said, did I mess up and make this unkosher? One of the factors you look at is there going to be a loss that is going to be incurred here? Because we really try to avoid loss. We really value property. We really value assets. And we really try to look at specifically the situations of the individuals there. So we talked before about this whole idea of whether you should burn two different things that are impure at different levels together or in two different places, so that the impurity doesn't mix, so that something that is lower level impurity doesn't contract higher level impurity. And one of the rabbis wants to introduce this concept of loss here, saying, if we were to divide them into two different fires that you burn through, you'd require more wood, and that would be a loss. But the response is that when we're talking about loss here, we're talking about what we call a hefsed meruba. We're talking about a significant loss. That's something we're going to factor in. But when it's a small loss, like a couple of sticks of wood, we're not really factoring in the loss equation into the overall way of understanding it. So hefsed meruba was a very important concept when I was getting smicha, when I was getting my rabbinical ordination. And it tends to be fairly relative to the person coming to you. Somebody came to me with a question, and I knew that this person had a lot of money and a lot of assets, and that replacing whatever dish they made for Shabbat or whatever item that they had a question about, that it wasn't going to be a big financial sting. It wasn't going to hurt them so much. Then I might give a somewhat more strict ruling and try to adhere as to like the cleanest ruling of the law possible. But if somebody came to me who was significantly impoverished and I knew that they probably didn't have replacement food for Shabbat, I'd find a way to say, is there a more lenient position in the law that we can follow in this instance? Because for the person who is impoverished, it would be a major loss. And for the person who is not, it might be just a very minor loss. And so the significance of the loss is something we take into account when figuring out, should we be factoring in the loss or should we not?